New arrests in the Boston Marathon terrorist attack. 2 men from Kazakhstan and an American behind bars after making their initial court appearance. They're charged with obstruction of justice, lying to investigators. Joining me now, criminal defense attorney Heather Hansen, former prosecutor Dan Schorr. Let's start with these arrests of the 3 here, Heather. They look to be, accessories after the fact, but that's not what they're being charged with.
No, it is an accessory. You have to be aware that a crime is going to be committed. And they are being charged with 2 of them with obstruction of justice. Those are the 2 from Kazakhstan. And then the American is being charged with lying to a federal agent. The charge and the sentence for lying to a federal agent is actually a greater sentence. And I think that's because it really gets in the way of the investigation. And this particular gentleman was lying to the investigators for over a week after the bombing. And theoretically, some investigation could have been messed with in some way because of that delay.
Well, they're also talking about throwing away the computer, the laptop computer, getting rid of 7 tubes of
fireworks with the powder taken out.
That they, apparently was used in the attacks. Why these charges in particular? Does it suggest there's already been a deal made? Or is this the beginning of a broader investigation, or is there anything to be made of this?
Well, right now it's a criminal complaint. Ultimately, and probably soon, there'll be an indictment, and sometimes there's enhanced charges, and then we'll have a better idea whether they are cooperating. But we do know that when everyone saw on the news the faces of these culprits, the bombers, instead of trying to call the police and get help, they tried to hide the evidence, and all 3 of them admitted being part of it. And this was hours before the MIT police officer was murdered. So maybe if they had called the police instead of doing what they're allegedly doing at the time, hiding evidence, things might have played out differently.
Well, and you asked about cooperating. 2 of them, the 2 from Kazakhstan, had actually been taken in by the ICE agents on immigration violations. So today, when Diaz's attorney came out and said, my client's been cooperating, he's been in custody. So he has been cooperating. We don't know whether or not any deals have been made. Will they be made? That's going to be the basis for any sort of plea negotiation.
Well, that certainly isn't a typical reaction, is it? To find out someone you know has been involved in killing people and maiming people and injuring over 200 people, and you take the laptop and other evidence and try to get rid of it. That makes you a little more, to me at least, than obstructing an investigation. I mean, that speaks a lot louder than those charges.
Well, there might be other charges, but people are wondering if they were involved in the plot. It seems like they were not, because it's such a haphazard job of getting rid of this evidence. They ran to the dorm room.
This is one lesson I think that we've all learned. They're the people they killed, the people they maimed, the people they injured. These were not very good terrorists, but they hurt a lot of people. Right. And I frankly, if these 3 young men had the opportunity to turn them in and chose to help them,
Also,
the hell with them.
You'd wish that there would be greater sentences, greater crimes for them to be adjudicated here. But unfortunately, it appears as though there aren't. You know, as Dan said, it doesn't look like they had anything to do with it. There's a footnote in the affidavit that says that
anything to do with what?
With the planning of the bomb.
Yeah, but I don't care about that. The simple fact that they knew about it and tried to cover it up is enough for me.
Of course.
If we move to another level, it's a whole new deal. We're going to be back with, the rest of the deal with Dobbs Law in just a moment. Stay with us.